about 7, 8, 9 years old, and we were all about this tall, or I guess, if you're like me, this short. Remember constantly being asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want everybody to close your eyes for just 10 seconds and think back to 8-year-old you. Who did you want to be? Did you want to be the president? A big movie star? An astronaut? Who have you always dreamed of becoming? Now open your eyes. Reflect on this moment. Are you who you've always dreamed of being? Now, if you're here right now, living your dream, I am so happy for you because you have figured it out. Now, if you're here with regrets or you're dissatisfied with the path that you've chosen, why? What made you forget about your potential? What made you settle for not being 100% happy? When we're in our late childhood, we're asked what we want to be when we grow up. Early on, it's cute when we say things like the president, an astronaut, or a movie star. However, slowly moving into our adolescence, the tables start to turn. And we begin to be challenged with things like, oh, well, what do you really want to be? Because that other thing you wanted to be, yeah, that's not realistic. That's too hard. Statements questioning whether we have the potential or not are the reason why we let go of certain dreams. Young adulthood is one of the most fantastic time periods of our lifetime. This is the age of exploration and creation of our path to true happiness and success. When I was in college, I felt just exactly that. I felt like I was on my path to true happiness and success. However, every other person I met, I didn't felt the same exact way. I've met people who have talked about their majors or their current jobs and said, well, I originally wanted to do this or that, but I was told it doesn't make enough money or that I'd never make it, so I chose this instead. When we change our lifestyle for other people, we begin to be challenged with who we really are. So Gallup is an advisory company in Washington, D.C. that conducts public opinion polls. With these public opinion polls, it states that more and more millennials are being either disengaged or actively disengaged in the workplace. This shows that 71% of people in the workforce in this generation are not happy with what they're doing, leaving only 29% to truly be happy with the job that they're experiencing. Now, what helped me escape this mindset of going to college right away and just having a hard major just to make a living, I had this quote that really inspired me. It was a quote by John Earl Schoaf. He said, "It's easy to let life deteriorate into making a living rather than designing a life. We all have a choice. Make a living or design a life." I knew I wanted to design a life. So, why do we feel the need to play it safe? Well, what I found is that this is a result of 3 stages we experience throughout our lifetime. These 3 stages are limitation, fear, and false satisfaction. So stage 1, limitation. We experience people putting these limitations on ourselves and engraving it in our own minds. As humans, we tend to have these thoughts that are unfair and inaccurate of ourselves. This is a manifestation of all the thoughts that other people perceive and all the thoughts that we apply in our own minds. Now, with limitation, we stop thinking about all the things we can do, and we start thinking about all the things we can't. So I was a cheerleader for Iowa State here for the past 4 years. And prior to that, I was a cheerleader for my high school. One of my greatest influences was Jeff Benson. He told me that you can do anything you want with your mind as long as you have a growth mindset. So he invited me to help him instruct summer cheer camps throughout the Chicagoland area for different high schools. And in those cheer camps, that's something that we taught them. we taught them the importance of growth mindset. Have any of you guys heard of growth mindset before? Yeah? Cool. Good for you guys. So for those of you who don't know what growth mindset is a study conducted by Carol Dweck, a professor at Stanford University of Psychology. So she found that growth mindset drives motivation and achievement. So with a growth mindset, you don't have enough room in your mind to have all these limits. Your mind doesn't allow you to limit yourself. So now with a growth mindset, you can say things like, I can do this. I am capable. I do have the potential. Now, without a growth mindset, you tend to stop yourself from going after those dreams that you've always wanted. You start to let all these what-ifs cloud your mind. This brings us to our second stage, which is fear. With all those limits now placed in our heads, we bring this emotion throughout our body, which is fear. So with fear, that's where the limits come from. We don't really know if we're going to be capable of doing something. We get scared of the what-ifs. All these what-ifs cloud our confidence. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if everybody hates me? With all of these fears replaying over and over in our heads, we become blocked in our minds. This is something that we taught in our summer cheer camps. So what we taught them was a way to kind of visualize what we're doing when we replay these what-ifs over and over again. So imagine this. Me and my best friend are neighbors, and in the middle of us, there's a big prairie field. So with that prairie field, of course, I'm 5 feet, give or take. I'm not going to be able to get through that prairie field and see where I'm going. So I have to take the sidewalk. So I walk up outside of my house, and I start taking the sidewalk. Then all of a sudden, a skunk. And I know you all have done it. The second you spot a skunk, you take the most inconvenient path to avoid that thing. So, like anyone else would, I turned around and went right through that prairie grass instead. So now I'm digging through that prairie grass, can't really see because I'm really short. But now I get to my friend's house and all's good. Now the next day, I leave my house to go to my friend's house, and I stop myself before I leave the house. I go, wait, what if that skunk is still there? Now, this fear is growing inside of me, so instead of taking the sidewalk, I walk through the prairie grass instead. So what happens to the prairie grass if I keep walking over it time and time after again? Yes, thank you. Exactly, it flattens out. This is exactly what we're doing in our brains when we replay these what-ifs over and over again in our heads. When we replay these, we're creating a new path in our brain, a new path driven by fear and limits. Now, when we replay these, even if it hasn't happened yet, we tend to allow that to make it a reality by keeping it replaying over and over in our heads. So, for example, the beginning of my talk. I was so scared to talk today. I was terrified. Public speaking's always been a fear of mine, and I did this to get over that. So because I replayed all these scenarios in my head over and over again, I froze, like a deer in headlights. So this is what we do in different circumstances. And this is what I don't want you guys to do throughout your life. Learn from my mistakes. Learn from each other's mistakes. So with these fears and limits now placed on us, we come to stage 3, which is false satisfaction. So while we have these fears and we have all these things that's clouding our minds, we think that we're okay with all the things that other people imagine for us. We think that we're okay with the life that someone else imagined for you rather than the life you imagined for yourself. So with that, you'll get people the kid that wanted to be the president, per se. So the kid who wanted to be president, instead of being a president, she decided to be the lawyer because someone told her she couldn't be a president because there's never been a woman president before. Or the kid who wanted to be the astronaut, Well, he decided to be a dentist because he was told that he wasn't smart. He was just smart enough to be a dentist, but not smart enough to be an astronaut. Now, how does that make any sense? Why would we discourage our friends, our family, from doing things that we want to do? So now with this false satisfaction, we think that we're okay with living this lifestyle that we never wanted in the first place. We think that we're okay with not being 100% passionate about the things we want to do. We all have heard it before. Money does not equal happiness. So if we know what that means, why do we settle for the financially stable job over doing something that we want to take the risk and leap of faith for? If we know money doesn't equal happiness, why do we still not go after the dream job that we've always wanted, that we've always been passionate about? Just because maybe it doesn't make as much money as a different job that you're qualified for. So with that, I came from a family that had a lot of people in the medical field. So when I was told that they expected me to be a nurse or a doctor, just like my mom, my aunts, my uncles, you can imagine their disappointment when I told them I wanted to be an architect. They've never had someone in the architecture field be part of their family. They're a little bit confused and a little bit disappointed. Jennifer, what happened to your dream of being a nurse? Why didn't you become a doctor instead? Well, first of all, one, that wasn't my dream in the first place. That was yours. So when all these people were doubting me and creating insecurities and doubts for myself, my mom was there to support me every second of the way. She said, forget the haters. You are capable of anything you put your mind to. She would tell the same to each and every one of you. You are capable because you are. So look at it this way. You know the saying, if you miss 100% of the chances you don't take? Well, think of it this way. If you take 10 shots and you miss 8 of those shots, that first shot you took was the one shot you needed to be the stepping stone to something exceptional. Now, that second shot you took was the one shot you needed to change your life. Now, it's not going to be easy by any means, but I promise you it will be worth it. So I want everyone to say it with me now, loud and proud. Please don't make me feel dumb. I am capable.
I am capable.
Because you are. Everyone who truly loves and supports you wants to see you succeed and reach your full potential of what you could ever imagine. So why would we do ourselves a disservice of not following that dream or passion we've always wanted to when we know we would be the best at that, rather than a job that we're unhappy with or just settling to be an unhappy employee? I want everybody to reflect on your own lives and think about if you're living to just make a living or if you're living to design a life. My name is Jennifer Tan, and I hope everyone can rediscover their potential to eventually take the harder path to an exceptional life over the easier path to the expected life. Thank you.